quiet, secluded village in Bangladesh stood a huge, dense forest on its edge. Everyone called it Nishijangal, the night forest. An unusual silence seemed to descend upon the forest soon after noon. The villagers avoided entering it unless absolutely necessary. But one young boy from the village, Tanim, only 12 years old, always carried an unyielding curiosity in his heart. Tanim was a little different. While other children loved playing in the field, Tanim loved observing nature, thinking about plants, and listening to the sounds of the forest. Villagers sometimes used to say, "A flying shadow is seen in that forest. It vanishes if anyone gets close." Whenever he heard this story, Tanim's heart would pound with excitement. He thought, who knows, maybe an unknown mystery lies hidden there. One afternoon, returning from school, Tanim decided to walk toward the forest. His mother had repeatedly told him, "Don't go into the forest after evening." But it was afternoon, the sun was warm, the air was cool, and the birds were singing. As Tanim walked a little way inside, something flew over his head with a whoosh sound. He stopped abruptly. Through the gaps in the leaves, he saw a small, plump, furry creature. It had tiny claws on its two hands and bright feather-like wings on its back. The wings were emitting a soft blue glow. The creature looked at him. Tanim stared. He felt no fear, but rather a strange warmth in his mind. The creature came forward and chirped softly, "Teek, teek, teek." Tanim smiled gently. "Are you scared? I won't hurt you." The creature seemed to understand. It gently landed on his hand. Tanim stared in wonder. Thus, for the first time in his life, he met an extraordinary friend whose name he would later learn was Lumi. The next day, Tanim went back to the forest. Lumi seemed to have been waiting for him. Today, Lumi began pulling Tanim's hand, leading him deeper into the forest. Tanim felt hesitant. What if I get lost if I go too far inside? But the trust on Lumi's face was such that he could not refuse. As they walked through the forest, the surrounding trees suddenly began to emit a soft light. The leaves twinkled, and the air felt different. And in a moment, Tanim saw an unbelievable sight opened up before his eyes. A massive open space. Around it were small houses, all made of wood, but their roofs looked like feathers. Small lights floated in the air in front of every house. And the most astonishing thing, there were hundreds of winged creatures like Lumi.
Small, big, children, everyone was flapping their glowing wings. Tanim exclaimed in wonder, "What is this place?" Lumi stood beside him and said in a soft voice, "Our home, our village, Luminara." This was the secret village of the winged creatures, invisible to human eyes. Only those they trusted, only they could see it. Thus, Tanim became the first human child to enter their secret village. An elderly creature whose wings were strangely silvery came forward in the village of Luminara. He was the village leader, Ilaro. Ilaro was surprised to see Tanim but did not object. Instead, he said, "There is a reason for bringing you here. The magic of our wings is fading." Tanim was startled. "What do you mean the magic is fading?" Ilaro sighed deeply. "Our wings not only help us fly, but also give energy to keep the forest alive. But a dark force called the Black Mist is spreading through the jungle. It is causing the trees to dry up and the river water to turn black. And the light of our wings is dimming." Tanim realized he had never thought of how important the forest was to the village in this way. Ilaro continued, "We cannot stop this ourselves. We need someone who can find the source of the darkness. Lumi brought you here because she believes your heart is pure. Though scared, Tanim did not back down. I will try, but what do I have to do? Lumi sat on Tanim's shoulder and they set off. They went to a part of the forest where humans never went. The trees there were dead. The air was cold, with a strange smell, and something like black smoke was rising from the cracks in the ground. Lumi was afraid. This is the black mist. It is very dangerous. Tanim noticed a crater-like spot ahead from which smoke was emerging. But getting closer, he was even more surprised. Around the crater were some broken stones which looked like they were made by human hands. Tanim slowly moved the stones aside with his hand and saw. Beneath it was a broken lumina stone, a type of magic stone that absorbs light. Ilaro had once mentioned that some humans had started excavation work in the Luminara village and they had accidentally broken a magic stone. Tanim understood. The black mist originated from this broken magic stone. In its broken state, the stone was emitting dark energy. Lumi said in a trembling voice, "It must be fixed, otherwise we will all perish." Tanim could not repair the stone, but he knew that the light of the wings was the life force of the Luminara creatures. And Ilaro had said the light wings could purify magic. Tanim said, "Lumi, can you give your wings light?" Lumi was afraid, lowered her eyes and said, "If I give too much light, I won't be able to fly. Maybe I won't survive." Tanim's heart trembled. He looked at Lumi and said, "I won't let you die. I will find a way, but you cannot do this alone." Tanim decided. He would hold the stone himself and Lumi would give it soft wing light. In this way, the light slowly began to enter the broken part of the stone. But suddenly, the black smoke intensified. The smoke burned Tanim's hand. Lumi was trembling violently. Still, the two of them did not stop. Slowly, the stone glowed brilliant blue from within. At one point, there was a flash of light, and the entire area was filled with a wave of white light. The black mist dissipated in an instant. The forest seemed to sigh. New colors returned to the leaves. Lumi fell exhausted into Tanim's lap. Tanim was worried. "Lumi, wake up!" A moment later, Lumi's eyes opened. But surprisingly, her wings were even brighter than before. It was as if the magic of the stone had given her new strength. Lumi smiled gently and said, "You saved me and all of us." When they returned to the village, everyone erupted in joy. Ilaro brought Tanim forward and said, "Today you have saved not only our village, but the entire forest. You are now the bridge between humans and Luminara, the two worlds." Tanim's eyes welled up. He felt the forest would never scare him again, because he knew this forest contained light, life, and friendship. Lumi hugged Tanim. "Our village will not be visible to humans, but you can come and see me whenever you want." Tanim smiled and said, "I will come. The light of the forest that you are, no one can extinguish." Since then, the forest has been felt by the villagers not just as a terrifying place, but mysterious, alive, and friendly. And Tanim would whisper to himself every day, "Friendship is true when it unites two different worlds."